good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ali, and these are the lovely Nikki and Nikki. They made it easy for me by giving me Nikki and Nikki. And as Angela explained up front, it's an initiative that Lauren Curry, who some of you may know, she's a Scottish designer, has designed to give people an opportunity to feel what it's like to be on stage, to be sitting in front of what today isn't a scary audience, but for some people may be a scary audience and maybe a scary experience. So these girls have a chance today to see what it feels like to be up here. Both work in comms roles, both would like to speak to audiences, and this is perhaps and hopefully giving you a chance to find out what it's like to be here. The girls don't have to speak, they don't want to speak today, they're just here to share the stage with me as I have a conversation with you this afternoon. So thank you both very much. Let's get this show on the road. The way we're working isn't working. For many people, this is the fear of a Sunday evening. Monday is that terrible, terrible day. We all see it. Look down your Facebook stream on a Monday morning and it's made up of stuff like this. So many people don't enjoy the work that they do. For many people, it's not a fulfilling experience anymore, I was going to say, but for some probably it's never been. And really what today is about is, and my piece of today is to just give you some provocations, because we're going to talk about this throughout the course of the afternoon. And we'll see where that dialogue leads us. How many people here commute to work? Show your hand if you travel to work. Not that many. How many of you travel for more than 30 minutes to get to work? 4. Anyone more than 45? Yeah.
Depends on the time you travel.
Sorry?
Depends on the time you're traveling.
Yeah, okay. So what would make a good journey for a bad journey? When's the worst time to travel?
After 20 to 8 in the morning.
Really?
If I go out at 7:15, my journey's 15 minutes. Anytime after 20 to 8 can be anything up to an hour.
Wow. Where are you travelling to?
From Scotland to Springville.
Okay. The other guys did put their hands up that are travelling 30 minutes yourself. What's your journey? Yeah, okay. And at that for yeah, I had the pleasure on Monday of being in Edinburgh and dropped my daughter back at the airport at 5:30, which was a real mistake. Anyone tried to drive from Edinburgh Airport to the bridge at 5:30? It took us an hour to go, what, 4 miles? And it prompted me to write a blog and to think about this, knowing I was coming here tonight and just do a bit of user research. And also I did a bit of research, and what I found is that in the UK, 3 million people now commute for more than 2 hours a day, which is a really wasteful thing to do, isn't it? Imagine what we could do with that time instead of doing it. This looks American because they're on the right-hand side of the road, but those stats are the same now the world over, and it's a question I think we need to ask ourselves: is that really the best way for us to be working? And perhaps a lot of people here, I guess, are designers. Let's try and understand why. Why are we doing that? What is this thing that makes us travel at that time to be in the office for that specific start or end? Is the end of your day the same?
You see, I'm weird. Because I go in early so that I know that I've got spare time to do additional work, and I stay late to do additional work.
Okay, are you staying late because of the traffic?
No, because I'm making a difference in other people's lives.
Cool. Well, that's a worthwhile thing that you're doing. Yeah. Sometimes it's not always the case. I lived in Aberdeen for 10 years, and Aberdeen in those days was a busy place. And I lived in a wee town called Inverurie, actually half an hour north, or half an hour on a Sunday north, 2 hours on a Monday morning north. And I just think we all spend so much of our time doing this commute thing, and I wonder if it really is what we should be doing. Many people have moved to a freelance lifestyle. How many of you in here are freelancers? Work for yourself, let's call it that. A few more hands, yeah. How many of you have got more than one customer, more than one client? So welcome to the gig economy. Again, just to throw some stats at you, this is a changing thing. We now have just over 2 million people in the UK that work freelance. That's up 36% since 2008, and it's growing rapidly. More and more people are embracing that freelance lifestyle. But again, I don't know that it's actually fundamentally different. Sometimes many of us have just got a different boss. So working freelance, you don't have the same boss that you had when you worked for a company, but now it's just a different way of having a boss, and we're still constrained to those same timescales of that Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Anybody here work in a co-work space? So, Teresa, let's pick on you. So you've got your space here in Glasgow. How many people have you got there now?
We have around 8 classes.
Wow.
Amounts of time.
And do you find that, are there core hours that people are in there?
The main hours between 10 that's the peak time. So we're open for 8 practices.
So again, I find that interesting. We're still in that core thing, that Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, with a bit of flex there. How many of you work weekends, out of interest? So again, not that many of us.
If you're freelance and you're working on projects, you're working all the spare time you've got anyway. At night, weekends, through the night.
You can do, you can be. And more people are. And I guess that's the point here, is that there's this shift to freelance working, and that's going to continue. And more organisations, and there's good points and bad points to that. People will see that more flexible workforce as a positive thing. I've seen a lot of organisations use that to downsize to, the gig economy has good and bad. If we think about the gig economy and the people in organisations like Deliveroo, you see these guys now on their bikes. We've got them in Dundee with that big box. It looks a really uncomfortable thing to carry around. But when you start to drill into that and look at how these people are paid and treated, is that such a good thing? And we've got the case of Uber. Anyone come here in an Uber today? So quite a few. It's a great service, isn't it?
It is, but the guy was complaining that Uber have changed the game for them, and they're
Yeah.
making them drive like 25 minutes to pick somebody up, and then they get cancellations, and then it penalises them.
Yeah. So, good and bad. I guess the message is that things are changing. The world is changing. I did a bit of, as I say, I wrote a blog earlier this week. This is a friend of mine called Kevin. He's an accountant in Aberdeen. And Kev lives a freelance lifestyle. He replied to one of my blogs this week on Facebook, actually. I posted the link on there. And Kev is an accountant. He works freelance just now, but he works under the banner of a business. It's his business. And we've been talking about routines. What's our routines? What does our day look like? So Kevin shared that with me. I'm going to share that with you now. So there you go. I don't know if you can all see that. He starts his day at 5:30 a.m, crazy man. Jumps in the shower, gets himself ready, has coffee and visualises the day, and then works from home from 6:15 to 9:45. 9:45 he travels into Aberdeen to work. Clever thing Kevin's done there is avoid the rush hour. So he's travelling when it suits him to travel. Works in the office for 2 or 3 hours, goes to the gym at 2:15 and travels home. Then he works from home for a couple of hours, gives himself some PS4 time, has his tea, works from home, which is that's slightly crazy, 7:45 till 9:45. Watches an episode, not 2 episodes, watches an episode of a TV series and goes to sleep at 10:45. Which is interesting. And he does this Monday to Friday, not the weekends. And there's beer and wine time in amongst that as well. This is Kevin living a freelance lifestyle. And more of this kind of thing is starting to happen. He's not in a building at a particular time. He's not there 9 to 5. He's being flexible. He's going to the gym. He's taking some time for himself.
He's working 11.5 hours a day.
I never added that up. Well done. It's quite a lot. And maybe that's a reflection of what the gentleman said here, where we're all working a little bit longer. This is a friend of mine. Some of the guys in the room here know Nicola. Nicola is a really interesting young lady, and I want to think more about what we do when we're at work. Because so many people are unhappy and not enjoying what they do. Nick has had an interesting career so far. She's still 27. Every year she has a 27th birthday, which is quite a cool thing. And Nick has a really strong social conscience. So the old days where we had to impress an employer to get a job, I think, are changing. And for Nicola, it's almost the opposite now. She's good at what she does. She's a professional comms person. She's way more than that, though. She's a passionate, caring, thoughtful, kind person who wants to make the world a better place and has decided that the way she spends her working life should be with an organisation that shares those values. So it's been interesting watching Nick's journey this year because she's had a couple of false starts with that. But she now works in an organisation where she can live those values, where she can be that person she truly is. So she doesn't have that hate Monday, love Friday thing. And I think that's incredibly powerful. And it's something that I think we need to think more about. What do we do with our time? And I know that might not be so easy for all of us. And I know that we've got to create wealth to pay for all of these things. But we only get one shot at what we do. Life is short. And I can tell you from experience that I'm 47 and I've wasted far too many of my years working with the wrong people, doing the wrong things. I'm lucky now. Lucky, or maybe by design, that I get to spend my time doing things that I want, that make a difference with people that I care about. And I think that the way Nicola approaches life is a way that we should all think a little bit more about what can we do with that time that we've got when we go to work. How can we use those skills and experience we've got to make a difference? I wanted to touch briefly on this. This is another thing that I think is wrong with the world. Yesterday, you may know, was Equal Pay Day. What that means is that, ladies, for the rest of this year, you're working for free. And this is based on the average pay differential between men and women in the UK. So 51 days is the difference. 51 days. Now that's an improvement, believe it or not. 20 years ago it was 76 days. But still 51, which is just a ridiculous number. And at the current rate of progress, it's going to take 62 years, ladies, before we're on par. Again, that's surely wrong. That's something that we need to think about, and we need to do something about, and we need to agitate, and we need to change. As we think about work and the future of work, then what do we do? I'm not here with any answers for any of you. I'm here just to stimulate a discussion and get you to think about this stuff. 51 days is ridiculous. 76 days was terrible. 62 years? Come on. Just wrong. Anyone know who this gentleman is? Elon Musk. Elon Musk's the founder of Tesla, SpaceX. And he wrote recently about his thoughts on the future of work. And Elon Musk believes that in the next 20 years, 45% of jobs in the US will be lost to automation. 45% of jobs. So if we think this shitstorm that's going on over there just now is bad, if he's right, and he's been right about a lot of things, it's going to get a whole lot worse. So what are we doing as a society to think about that, to deal with it, to address it? Because if 45% of those jobs are going to go, and it's going to take 62 years for that gender pay thing to come together, then we've got some challenges ahead of us. And really, I just want to leave you with that now. I'm going to hand over to Margie in a minute. We've got some issues, we've got some challenges, we've got some opportunities. How do we create work for ourselves that makes a difference? How do we create work for the world that makes a difference? People want to do meaningful things with their time. Is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 still the right way for us to work? Should we be travelling into these buildings? I know your co-workspace is in the centre of the city. The one I ran, as you know, was in the centre of Aberdeen. Maybe we need to have these hubs in the outskirts as well. Maybe there needs to be a hub in Dundee. Maybe there needs to be a hub in Carnoustie. That's ours, yeah. It's not quite open yet. Maybe there needs to be one in Falkirk. Maybe there needs to be one in Arbroath. Or maybe we just need to be going into the centre to those offices, those buildings where our organisations exist, once or twice a week. There are different things that we can do, there's different things that we can think about. One of the things that co-work spaces are doing across the world, because people aren't travelling into the centre of cities as much as they did, it's regenerating the high street in areas. But you see this particularly in England, in the south of England. We're improving our impact on the climate. Our carbon emissions will be less if we're not doing those journeys, those 6 million hours a day that people are spending in cars or trains travelling into work. So what can we do? What can we do to make a difference? Thank you.